Last week, I made a video talking about my college football playoff bracket, and I showed you guys my bracket, and I was wrong on 2 of those games, so let's talk about those games I was wrong on. Now, here is the bracket that I did last week, and you can see right away, the first game I was wrong on was the very first game, and that was Alabama at Oklahoma, and I picked Oklahoma to win. I thought Oklahoma was a better team, and Alabama's offense hadn't looked very good since that Oklahoma game during the regular season. And that pick looked really good for the first quarter and a half, and then Oklahoma forgot how to play football. They jumped up to a 17-0 lead before giving those points back up, going into halftime tied at 17. And then Alabama really just dominated the second half. I mean, the game finished 34-24, but it really never looked like Alabama was going to lose that game. It never looked like Oklahoma had a legit comeback shot. I mean, they were always within shot of coming it back, but never looked like that was actually going to happen. Now, even though Alabama put up 34 points, they only put up 28 points on offense. Oklahoma did throw a pick six to end the first half, so really Alabama's offense only put up 28 points, and they still didn't look great. They still only put up 28 rushing yards, and a big part of that is because Ty Simpson had negative 22 rushing yards because of sacks. Oklahoma's defensive line was all over Alabama in the first half, really pressuring Ty Simpson and forcing him to either take sacks or throw the ball away or just miss on throws. Ty Simpson did finish with 232 yards and 2 touchdowns, so he didn't have a terrible performance, especially for how bad he played in the first half. John Mateer, meanwhile, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then that pick six. And then the other game I missed on was Miami and Texas A&M. I thought that Texas A&M would win this game. Now, they did not. Miami did win this game 10-3. Now, I did say it would be a low-scoring game. I did say that neither offense would look particularly good, and I still don't think either offense did look particularly good in this game. In fact, we didn't have a touchdown scored until the last 2 minutes of the game. This was a defensive slugfest. Carson Beck only threw for 103 yards on the day. Now, he did have that touchdown, but even that touchdown was more of a swing pass or a screen pass to the receiver who ran it in for a touchdown. Mark Fletcher Jr. for Miami did have himself a great game with 172 rushing yards, but no touchdowns. And then obviously with just 100 yards thrown by Carson Beck, none of the receivers for Miami looked great this game. So while I did expect both defenses to play well and both offenses to play bad, I did not expect Marcel Reed to be as inaccurate as he was. He was very inaccurate this game. Marcel Reed threw for 237 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, including the game-sealing interception in the end zone, where he had a receiver open who had a step on the DB, and he threw behind him right to a DB. Miami picks it off. Miami's able to kneel the ball out. And then A&M looked even worse on the ground, and I did say that that could happen. Miami has a very good defensive line. Marcel Reed was actually the leading rusher for this A&M squad. He only had 27 yards on the day. Reuben Owens the second, 7 carries for just 21 yards. Nothing on the ground working for A&M this game. So even though I didn't get those scores right, I was right on a lot of things that happened during that game, especially the Miami and Texas A&M game, but was just wrong on what the outcome would be and wrong on how bad Texas A&M's offense would look. Now, before we talk about the bracket moving forward, please take a second to like and subscribe. It's super easy to do. It takes you just a few seconds, not even a full minute. It helps me grow my channel so I can give you guys more content, give you guys all the content in the world that you're asking for. It also signals to the algorithm to put more college football content on your page. So make sure to like, subscribe, share this with a friend, call a buddy, and tell them about this channel. Let's get this thing going. Now with those 2 games, here's what the live bracket looks like, and I don't think that that changes too much about how I'm looking at these games. I still think that Texas Tech will end up beating Oregon. It may not be a super easy win. It might be a close, tough game, but I think Texas Tech is just the better team here. Dante Moore didn't impress me too much against JMU, and he really hasn't impressed me too much throughout this season. I think this Texas Tech defense is probably the best defense that Oregon will have played to date. And the way that Oregon finished the game by just completely taking their foot off the gas and allowing JMU to put a lot of points up. In fact, JMU put up more points than anybody did against Oregon this year. Really throws some questions for me about whether this Oregon team can actually finish games. So I'm still taking Texas Tech to win this game. Moving down to the Rose Bowl, we have Indiana and Alabama. Now, I think that this game will be closer than Indiana-Oklahoma would have been. I think that this Alabama team actually showed that they can throw the ball pretty well. Their offense looked much more improved than it did in the conference championship game. But they still can't run the ball, and this still is Indiana, and Indiana plays really, really good team football. I still think Indiana is going to win this game. Then in the Sugar Bowl, I still think Ole Miss will win this game, especially after the way they played against Tulane. Ole Miss looked significantly better without Lane Kiffin against Tulane than they did with Lane Kiffin against Tulane. Trinidad Chambliss had 282 yards in the air with a touchdown, but he also had 36 yards on the ground with 2 rushing touchdowns. Kawan Lacey had 87 yards on the ground with a touchdown. Even Austin Simmons came in for 6 plays and went 4 for 6 for 64 yards. And the last time that Ole Miss and Georgia matched up, we saw a very close game with Ole Miss actually having a multiple possession lead going into the fourth quarter and then giving that lead up. And Lane Kiffin has done that before. So when you have a team that's looking better than they were with Lane Kiffin, you have a team that gave up a lead that Lane Kiffin is prone to do, and they're playing a team that they were leading by multiple possessions in the fourth quarter, I really still think Ole Miss is going to win this game. It's hard to beat the same team twice. I don't think that Georgia will be able to do it. I think Ole Miss wins here. And then on to the Cotton Bowl, and we have Miami versus Ohio State. Now, I am more confident that Ohio State is going to win this game now. I still think Ohio State will win this game. Miami's offense looked really bad against Texas A&M's defense, and Ohio State has a better defense than A&M does. I don't know if Miami will be able to score a touchdown in this game if they play the same way they played against Texas A&M. But Ohio State is a better offense than A&M does. Julian Sayin is a better quarterback than Marcel Reed. He doesn't have the same accuracy issues. He is still mobile. He is not as much of a runner as Marcel Reed is, but he can still extend plays, keep his eyes downfield, and then hit targets downfield. And then Ohio State has 2 top-tier receivers, where A&M just has Casey Concepcion. I really think Ohio State will win this game, and I think that they will win this game fairly easily. And then if all of these results play out the way that I think they will, then we will be right back to the way we were on this last bracket, with Texas Tech playing Indiana and Ole Miss playing Ohio State. And if you want to see what I think about those games, then go watch this last video I made about this. I'll break those games down even more. Now, I told you guys that I would give you the update on games I was wrong on and games I was right on, and that is what this is. So make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see me talk about the games that I'm picking right now here in 2 weeks, and discuss whether I was right or wrong on these games.